Hello there, Rachel. Yeah, this is Estonia against Kuwait, underlining again the international nature of 9-ball pool. Denis Grabe, the taller of the two. Omar Alshaheen came very close to winning this a couple of years ago. So close, in fact, he was beaten in the final by Albin Aushen.
Omar Alshaheen wins the lag.
Led 9-7. Aushen, though, powered to victory.
Yeah. No. Break off.
From there.
And then, yeah.
Well, a very good lag from both of them.
Omar
Alshaheen could not have been any more accurate. So while we were discussing the filler match, I can tell you he's been joined in the last 64 draw by Ruben Bautista from Mexico, who beat Abdullah Al-Anzi 9-4. Well, what a strange break-off that was. Balls going in all over the place, including the one that no one wants to see go down, Whitey. You know, in cricket, when a new bowler comes on, they always say, well, let him have a couple of looseners. In pool terms, this is a loosener for Denis Grabe. 6 balls to pot, and with the cue ball in hand.
Yeah, a couple little groupings, but the balls do go, and Alshaheen losing the cue ball, but gotta like making 3 balls on the break. So we'll see Alshaheen back at the breaking in, you would figure. We'll just see. I'm surprised he's drawing this. I liked where he set up to follow the ball here. Because it's a little crucial not to fall on the rail when shooting the 3. That can really be the only way the rack becomes very difficult. Yeah, nice shot here. He can just draw the cue ball back for the 4 in the corner. He could go forward for the 4 on the side, as long as the 7's not an issue. Denis, who's been a very good player for a long time, many results on the Euro Tour and results outside of that, but still looking for that signature win. Omar Alshaheen, as you said, was just a few games away from the biggest title in the world, or one of them. That and the U.S. Open, in my opinion, are the 2 biggest by far. And Omar, he's the type of player that, you know, if he shows up, he has the talent and the spirit, you might say, and really not afraid to pull the trigger. He's the type of guy that can make a run to win the event, but then at times he's the type of player you're wondering what's going on out there, and he may not even qualify.
As soon as Alshaheen scratched, you suspected that Denis Grabe would step in and draw first blood rapidly. That's exactly what he did. Now, beforehand, we spoke to Denis and asked him for his assessment of the match to come.
Last year, in the end of the year, I was in States for 2 months. I got along pretty well. I made some good wins, and I'm pretty confident. He's a very tough opponent, and we played a few times before. He knows my game, I know his game, so I know what to expect. It helps a lot when you get the wins in your back, and yeah, for sure I need some more wins. Venue is amazing, the production is great, the TV, the live score, I can't say any bad words. It's amazing.
Denis Grabe, he started out with a defeat in this championship, 9-4 to Ali Nasser Al Abaidi of Qatar, but bounced back with a 9-3 win over Stephen Holm from Canada. That's why he's here. Now, this is Elliot Sanderson. He's a terrific potter. Hails from Barnsley in Yorkshire, now living in Glasgow, Scotland. and he's up against Wojciech Szewczyk over on table 2. I commentated on the first 8 racks of this match. Sanderson potted some really good balls. Szewczyk looked the more steady of the two, that has to be said. He's certainly the more experienced. But clearly this match is boiling up nicely. Szewczyk's lead with that reduced to 7-5. Chris Melling, I can tell you, is on the hill against Ronald Regley at 8-4. James Arenas on the hill against Nikos Economopoulos at 8-3. Oscar Dominguez 7-3 up on João Griot of Portugal. It's 4-3 now for Dimitris Lukatis of Greece against Johan Chua. And this is table 5, where Dimitri Jungo is taking on the legend of pool, the man who's won so many titles, including this one, Ralph Suke. At the moment, Jungo is 6-4 ahead.
Yeah, and the more I watch Dimitri, the more he impresses me. Kind of come back to professional pool after a long layoff about 2 years ago. We lost another semi-finalist from last year, Al Youssef, just getting beat. Shane Wolford really played steady. And I'll tell you, the player you mentioned a moment ago that I think as this tournament grows, and a little bit of a dark horse for many, is James Aranas.
Thank you.
I think the kid, if he starts to build some steam and settles those nerves, he could make a very serious run in this event.
Yeah, Shane Wolford beating Abdullah Al Youssef 9-3. Same score as Petri Mäkinen from Finland overcame Marco Tuta.
Yeah.
To believe that's Alex Lely's pronunciation. So the Dutchman going out, Petri Mäkinen from Finland, who's a very tidy player with a World Cup triumph on his CV. He goes through.
And a return of the favor with the cue ball here from Denis. Now surrendering ball in hand, but a lot different look on this rack than he had. No balls down on the break, so a difficult layout to get started here for Omar. And Petri, I talked about with Alex brought that name up during a few games I got to commentate just a little while ago. And I think before pandemic set in, I saw Petri really starting to come into his own with his game, and had some really nice results in America and some very tough events. And good to see him back in form.
We mentioned how Grabe had arrived here. It's the opposite for Omar Alshaheen. He started off favourably, 9-3 win over João Griot, and then in the winners' qualification lost 9-5 to the Canadian John Morra. Not only was he a finalist a couple of years ago, Jeremy, he was into the last 16 last year, so he likes this tournament, feels at home here. The Tiger, they call him.
Yeah, and when I first saw Omar at the Derby City Classic, probably some 5 years ago, maybe, he came in the building just challenging everyone to play, and he was a breath of fresh air to get to watch. I tell you what, he gained a lot of fans that week, and has gained many more ever since.
And in the heat of battle, watch out, when he got to the final of this 2 years ago, he beat Daniel Massioli 11-10. Also Hill overcame Chris Melling. Then he beat Nikos Economopoulos 11-8. Thomas Kaplan 11-6, and Oliver Szolnocki in the semi-final 11-9. So when the pressure is elevated, he can stand up to it.
Yeah, and he can really pocket any ball on the table, it seems. Sometimes the cue ball gets a little loose. He's going to take on a thin cut here. Really a lot of talent. And you got to keep an eye on Omar. I mean, he's had some matches to where, he kind of lost his focus extremely, actually. So this slower paced Omar is the one I like seeing, actually. He can beat you quickly sometimes when he gets going, but it seems like when he makes a big mistake playing fast, it really affects him afterwards. Oh, too much. So 3 ball in hands and 2 racks between the two. two of them off the break, but a big miscue there.
And that was prescient, Jeremy. You were saying he dwells on mistakes. That's the kind of thing that gets under his skin. He's a dweller, not a forgetter.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, the same way he kind of feeds off his you know, positive and good things that he does on the table as well. Okay, what you're going to see here is a safety, but also opening the 7-8 at the same time. So 5 to the top cushion, trying to bump the 7 out just subtly, nothing major on the movement. I'll talk to, I doesn't want this near the 9. Never know, it makes the kick shot a little better to look at, but talked to Denis last night and he said that during the holidays he took a little more time off the game than he normally does, and I think you're going to see that at times from the players a little more often, just because the schedule gets so heavy. They're going to need a break here and there.
Well, look at the interview we've just seen with Joshua Filler. He was visibly fatigued, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, lacked a little color in the face, you could see, and very happy to get through. And hopefully for the former world champion and arguably the best player in the world. One of them, that's for sure. Hopefully he sleeps well tonight and has his A game moving forward. Another American coming up soon, Billy Thorpe. Talked about Billy earlier, that I think every ball that he gets to play is huge for him right now, win or lose. Denis, if I'm correct, he grew up, his parents owned a pool room in Estonia, so he's been playing since a very, very young age. Awkward cueing at times, a little more movement sideways with the cue than you would think, but a lot of it's after impact. Pure.
Knowing I was going to do this match, Jeremy, I was just taking a look at what he did last year, Denis Grabe, and it was sort of slightly under the radar, but nevertheless impressive. 5th in the Arizona, Wisconsin Opens, 3rd in the Ohio Open, tied 9th in the European Open, tied 9th in the World 10 Ball, 4th in the Derby City Classic 1 Pocket, 5th in the Italian Open on the Euro Tour. Pretty good going, that, you know. Absolutely, and you know, steady is definitely one of the words you can use for this guy. He's wanting to take steady a little further. Told me about his 1 pocket last year, 4th place. I was super impressed with that. That just shows you, for a guy from Estonia, they don't play a whole lot of 1 pocket there. That just shows you his instincts around the pool table. I think Wojciech maybe just got on the hill. 8-6, maybe 8-5. Well, the start of this match has not gone well for Omar Alshaheen. It's gone much better for Denis Grabe, who leads by 2 racks to 0. I can tell you another winner was Duang Kwok Hwang, who beat Ika Echeverria 9-4, and this is the Shane Walford victory I was telling you about. Look at this. Yeah, and a big mistake early. I think it was 3-1 for Al Yusuf. Shane, he's played well the entire event. Had a nice win to start. Lost heel.
Shane, you have made it through to the final 64. Congratulations. You have just knocked out last year's semi-finalist. You must be delighted.
Yeah, it feels pretty good. I played well that set. Just got to keep going and push and fight for every ball in the final 64.
You lost your opening match 9-8 against Eklund Kachi. second round, so obviously you must be even more delighted to come back, because to lose a big match like that against one of the top Europeans, how difficult is it to try and forget about that and get ready for your next match?
Well, I played well, and you have to leave the mistakes behind and just go to the next match and do what you know how to do.
Last season, we've seen you travelling to all the big major 9-ball events. Is that the plan for this season as well?
Yes, I'm very fortunate to get the invite, and I love what Matchroom is doing for pool.
You want to win this World Championships, of course, but I'm guessing a goal is to try and make a certain USA Mosconi Cup team at the end of the year.
Well, of course, I would like to make the Mosconi Cup, but I feel like the main goal is to play as well as I can and hopefully get a few tournaments under my belt, and then that'll come with it. So,
Shane, your name is in the hat for the last 64. The draw takes place later tonight. Good luck tomorrow, buddy.
Thank you. Thank you.
Shane Walford, loving life. Denis Grabe was in the first couple of racks, but now Omar Alshaheen looking to make his presence felt.
I'm not sure. I'll check it. I'll check it, Omar. Can I have a replay, please?
Yeah, this has to be a good hit the way the ball's reacted. It has to be 2 first. Ooh. I still think if it had to be 2 first, you got to figure the cue ball would have went to the right.
Again, please.
Omar's convinced one way, maybe Denis Grabe is convinced the other.
Well, we talked about possibility of firework.
Yeah, it's good.
I think it has to be good, though. If you clip the 3 first, making the 2, the cue ball will send to the right a little bit. All right, watch out, 7 ball here. Going forward with the cue ball.
So just hypothetically, tell us, Jeremy, what would have happened? What's the rule when it's a simultaneous hit?
Well, that's a good question. I think they give it to the shooter, even though back in the day when it was a simultaneous hit, or what they announced, which by the way feels about 1,000,000 to 1 with 2 3-round objects to hit each other simultaneously. But the rule states that you must hit the object ball first. So back in the day it was a foul. Now recently, the last 10 years, if they call a simultaneous hit, they give it to the shooter.
I'm still not entirely convinced, having seen that there.
I know. And like I said, normally you can figure out what happened during the shot with the aftermath of the shot, but that one there was about as close as it gets. But if he caught the 3 first, you got to figure the cue ball would come off the 2 to the right. Yeah, that's, I think, a good hit for sure.
That's the best illustration of the shot, and I think that removes any doubt. We shouldn't really have doubted it, because Desislava Boshilova is a terrific referee, both in 9-ball and in snooker, of course.
Yeah, and I don't think Denis questioned it, really. Oh, a little light here. And these are the types we talked about. When you're supposed to get easy position, it's important to do so. Because if you keep having to make a little tougher shot, a little more delicate, it can catch up with you. Well, he turned his head to the right there, wide down on the ball. That was odd. choices here. You can pinch this just lightly in the side with a light draw stroke. Decided to run the cue ball. I think probably a better shot.
That was a rack off first.
Wins the rack.
Omar Alshaheen hit the 2-ball first, just, and then he gets his first rack on the board. Still Denis Grabe in front.
Trailing by 2 racks to 1.
Looking good for Mario He against Tobias Bongers, 7-1 ahead. Dimitri Jungo and Ralph Suke now 6-5 to Jungo. And Jan van Leerup from Holland has beaten Jonas Suter Camino 9-4. Good result for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Camina's been tough. And I'll tell you, you know, that mistake, it looks like Omar can leave that behind getting on the board right now. But the one thing that Denis Grabe has to concern himself with is 2 dry breaks to open after winning a couple games. And it's hard to separate yourself if you're not making balls on the break.
One more scoreline to give you. James Arenas has beaten Nikos Economopoulos 9-3. And actually, as I'm speaking, I can tell you, fabulous Fabio Petroni, former Mosconi Cup player, he's beaten Mats Shetner 9-5.
Yeah, I don't know about this shot here. It's not even guaranteed position on the 2, and he has the rollout option. So going a long ways, I feel like, with this jump shot. Probably roll out, maybe bump the 2, leaving some type of 2-rail kick on the 1. That would be my choice. Great hit, but that's the thing, you can hit it so great and still not have the reward. With the rollout option, I don't know.
The same level of accuracy at slow pace would have seen that 1 in, but of course he didn't have that option. It was the pace that kept it out.
Yeah, and I think Omar trying to make a little change in his game since I've seen him last. You know, I've seen Omar to where he took like no time over the ball, just pulled the trigger almost as quick as he got down. And there, a long time over the ball. And I'm surprised he didn't play a rail first there. The 2 went all the way up by the 8. I think a bit of a mistake there because it's always hard to judge that ball that's deep hanging in the corner pockets. Could have played a rail first off the long rail and easily got underneath the 2. And that's the one thing that Denis, you know, he relies on, you know, is that brain, right? Making very, very sound decisions. I think he did get a bank cross side.
We're looking at a former quarter-finalist in the World 9-Ball Championship. Grabe got there in 2016.
He could clip off the left side going up behind the 8. Didn't get what he wanted. He's going to leave a very playable combination. So a couple errors from the guys, and both of them can get in their own heads. We'll see who can kind of maintain. This type of shot, you want to draw it. The 2 should come free off the 6 to the side rail and open up for a shot in the corner. Could roll it, but not in love with that too much. Good shot there. Chris Melling can't quite shake Ronald Regley. Ronald, very talented player from Switzerland. 6 now in that match.
So far, I think this match going exactly how I predicted. I just thought it was the ultimate 50-50 contest for me, and I couldn't imagine either of them winning easily.
Yeah, with that talent that Omar really does possess, he's one of the straighter shooters, really. If he ever gets in that process of just that cliche of one ball at a time, I think he becomes instantly 20% better. Great position. Yeah, you don't have to be ideal. Just draw the ball back a little bit. It should come off the rail for a decent little angle to move the cue ball off the 8. Wow, I'm surprised he tried to get so much out of that. Really making that ball missable shooting it that way.
You're right, Jeremy, very observant. He's taking more time, isn't he? A lot more circumspect than I've seen in the past. And having fallen 2-0 adrift, Omar Alshaheen is back on level
Omar
terms
Alshaheen wins the rack.
at 2-2. Good matching prospect here between two players who I find very difficult to separate. He's a bubbly character, is Omar Alshaheen, always has been.
Don't feel okay. I don't feel excited. I've been trying for a long time. As much as I tried, I couldn't win. Now I'm just doing the process, and I want to see if there is compassion in there and if I will get the compassion back or not. I'm not giving any attention for my opponent. I have respect for all the players, for the game especially, and I'm just thinking about the table and my game. I think I could do better and probably get the compassion back.
Bubbly character.
Rack 5.
Not there.
Omar Alshaheen to break.
Wow, the game face is on.
Yeah, it looks like, because we did miss him for a few events last year, it looks like he's, had a long talk with himself about the game and what he wants to do, and nothing wrong with that. I think every player goes through that. Okay, nothing down yet. So a variety of breakoffs here from the two players. A couple scratches, a couple dry breaks, 3 on the break, the first opening rack. And now nothing for Alshaheen.
For our British viewers on Sky Sports, some good news. Chris Melling is through. He's beaten Ronald Regley 9-6, staving off that mini recovery, that mini revival from the Swiss player towards the end.
Yeah, and I watch Ronald. I really don't see, anything that's glaringly weak. I see a very capable player. And I think we saw a lot of that at the World Cup of Pool last year. And I think we're going to see more of it from the young man. He's out this year, but Chris Melling is always exciting, one we want to have in the event. Now obviously rolling out to a kick shot, I think anyways. Hard pressed to think that Denis would roll out to a piece of the one. Now the problem with the kick shot is the 3 is really blocking the movement of the 1. So if he is snookered here, I wouldn't mind passing this one. I would rarely pass this kick shot if the 3 wasn't there, but is he looking at the jump cue? Yeah, to jump and kind of hold the cue ball behind the 3. Can't afford really any cut on the 1 at all. Can't afford a whole lot of draw on the cue ball either. Now he's looking to cut the 1 by the 8 and kind of run the cue ball maybe behind the 4 too. I think he left a window here at the 1 ball. We're going to see a nice draw stroke from a long distance cue ball. Behind the 8, maybe a little bump on the 8. Wouldn't call that too lucky. I mean, he had to turn it loose a little bit.
You might hear a very loud noise in a few seconds. That's because Wojciech Szewczyk has defeated Elliot Sanderson over on table 2. It was surrounded, that table, by fans, the overwhelming majority of whom were there to support their man, and Szewczyk delivered.
Odd shot there. He must have been worried about getting behind the 8. Had enough room to go between the 3-8. If he came off the second rail, bumped it, that being the black 8 ball, wouldn't have been a problem. So we'll see how he wants to play a safety. Now, Omar, a very good banker as well. So a lot of cut on this 3 ball to bank it cross side, but it is playable. I think he tries to go behind the 9 with the cue ball. Maybe behind the 6 and 7. Oh, it's going to be a little light. Did put the 3 where he wanted, but a lot of times against the best players, you're going to end up with the worst of it.
Official confirmation, Szewczyk beat Sanderson 9-7. This will please you, Jeremy. Over on table 7, Oscar Dominguez on the hill, 8-6 up on João Grillo from Portugal.
A lot of people don't realize how well Oscar is playing. That Mosconi Cup didn't really get a lot of time. Big exposure, of course, but not a lot of time at the table. Ended up second on the rankings last year for the Americans, so that tells you something. All right, touchy shot here. Yeah, he hit it too thick. He may get away with it, though. Yeah, pretty decent.
I think this is 2 firebrands trying to be as calm as they possibly can be. Cool as cucumbers, and it's not natural. You can see all that restrained energy in there. They're just dying to...
Yeah, don't let one little crack happen. It may really unload with these 2. Now looking for the jump shot. And he's going to cut it to his right, I believe. That way, if you miss it thick, the 3 should come around with the cue ball somewhat underneath the 4. And this is a polar opposite of what we've seen from Omar as far as the time at the table prior to shooting. Jump shot is so amazing how it's evolved, what the players can do. Wow, he cut it to his left.
You know, slowing down and becoming a little more cautious, and the pace of your play becoming not unnatural, but certainly slower than in the past. That's happened in snooker this season with a great player from Northern Ireland called Mark Allen, who has got more ranking points this season than anyone else. He's earned over $600,000 US, and he's won 3 big tournaments. Slowing down slightly, playing a different game to normal, and it's working a treat at the moment.
Yeah, well, at the highest level, what it is just eliminating that extra mistake here and there. And once you get used to slowing down a little bit, and that doesn't mean play extra slow. There is a tempo and a rhythm to all players, I think. But just making sure of a few things. And the thing is, it's not like you're going to pick a better shot all the time. It's just you're making sure of what you're doing at that time, and you're very aware of it. This is a funny shot to where he needs to cross the 3 over towards the 6 and run the cue ball 1 rail back towards where it's at now. And the reason why I say that is the 4 are way back down table. I think he can get the snooker. Plus, if he does leave a shot, it's going to be very, very difficult to get position on the 4. He's thinking about elevating the cue, playing the 3 into the 8, and bringing the cue ball back. I like him going level here. It's not terrible to bank it cross side even. Now he's elevated. Could fluke the 8. Wouldn't want that. Really nice cue ball. Okay, it looks like he has enough of the 3 to bank it back between the 4 and 8. Maybe run the cue ball a little bit for a snooker. Super easy here. And he could kind of softly bank the 3 towards the 8. Just let the cue ball roam towards the upper left corner, trying to use the 4. I think that's what he's going to play. Joey Tate about to get in action. Oh, he's a breath of fresh air, I'll tell you that. What a good kid. A little light with the pace, not quite enough cut on the 3. And Omar will inspect the 3-8. He's going to look offensively at first. Be surprised if he doesn't, because it looks like it's aimed towards the pocket. Otherwise, he'll edge the 3, I think, and run the cue ball back behind the pink. Oh, he's hitting it full. Really shocked he hasn't at least entertained the 3-8. This has gotten away from him. And an unforced error there.
It's easy for me to say this now with hindsight, but when you're a naturally fluent player, and you slow down, sometimes you can actually disrupt your own rhythm, and I think there he maybe overthought that shot.
Yeah, and the thing that I'm seeing is not only taking more time before he gets down, but the one that I don't like that much is how much time he's taking when he's down on the ball. That's the one that I think you can really disrupt the rhythm. Uh-oh. Just barely caught the jaws and escaped a little bit with the cue ball. And that's what you'll see more from Denis or any of the better players, is they'll take the time up off the ball, make the decision, and then get down and swing the cue. I don't think Denis can get too cute with this shot. He's really got to go with kind of what the shot wants to do a little bit, which I think is get below the 9 for the 5 in the lower left. If he tries to hold up between the 7-9, I think he makes the 4 missable, and he could get snookered. Yeah, really nice effort there.
Now, sitting at home on your couch, you might have thought that cue ball's not going to reach that point on the table. But these cloths are so quick, and it made the journey.
It looks like he's just going to stop his ball here for the 7 in the lower right. 8 very playable.
Well, one especially good positional shot has made this all possible, as Grabe stands on the threshold of regaining the lead. He does regain it at 3-2. So earlier, Mario He had no problems in terms of shaking off his latest opponent, Tobias Bongas, who was beaten by Jason Shaw this afternoon, going down 9-1 to Mario. And Mario there was super. So Tobias Bongas exits the tournament. And so does Ronald Regley. Now, Regley had the 9 ball here to pull one back against Chris Melling. And this is what happened. All around the table. Oh dear. And when he knew the 9 was going past the cue ball, he conceded. And so Chris Melling is through, and here he is.
Chris, you've had a lot of drama over the first couple of days here. This one was pretty close as well. Tell us how you played.
Played really well. I think I won the match basically because of my safety and my kicking. I was 8-3 in front, and every time Ronnie snookered me, I kick off 2, 3, 4 cushions, and I hooked him virtually every time. So I kind of frustrated him a little bit, and I think that's what got me in front. And he came back at the end, but he missed a good chance to get it 8-7, and he conceded the match.
We know you're a Q Sports all-rounder. You were a snooker pro for some time. In recent times, you've been playing a lot of 8-ball. But in the run-up to this, did you set aside a certain amount of time just to focus on preparing specifically for 9-ball?
If you want me to be totally honest, I haven't played since US Open. And the cue that I've used here, I've never used in my life. I've just got a brand new sponsor through Q-Tech. I was with Predator for 12 years, so I'm using a different cue, and it throws so different to how my old cue plays. So it's just kind of getting used to it, and the longer I'm in the tournament, the better I'm going to get, because I am going to get used to the throw of the cue and the break. I'm struggling with the break a little bit, but I'll get there.
And you did pretty well at the US Open, of course, which you say was the last time you played. So how do you feel now going into the last 64? Where do you feel your game's at in terms of contending for this title?
I've certainly got a chance. I mean, I'm decent under pressure. I've won world ranking events before, so I know I can win. The problem I've had over the past few days is I've not been very well. I've had seven hours sleep in about 3 days, so my preparation's not been great. But like I said, you know, the longer I'm in the tournament, the better I'm going to get, the better feeling I'm going to feel, and you know, if I can keep winning, then I have a chance.
Finished relatively early tonight, though, so plenty of time to go make up in some sleep, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks, Chris.
Cheers, thank you.
Chris Milling is a supreme cueist. He really is. The Yorkshireman hasn't played 9-ball since the US Open last year, but he's so versatile and so talented.
Yeah, absolutely, and one of the best to watch. Always shows you something special, and like he talked about, that kicking that he's so famous for. Got him through that match, got a big lead. You could see the frustration from Ronald there in that little clip we had. And maybe a little frustration's gone for Denis Grabe on the breaking end. Finally made a ball on the break. Didn't get the greatest of layouts, but it's got to make him feel good.
Just thinking about that US Open, it was in October, wasn't it? So that's 4 months off. I will recall driving back to the airport from Atlantic City, and we went past the Philadelphia Eagles stadium, which is very impressive, and they were at home that day.
Yeah.
The game hadn't started, but all of the tailgating was going on, and now look what they've done. Got to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, you know Rob Hart, of course, and a guy that will be in some of the Matchroom events this year, I'm sure of. I stayed with him for a few days prior to that US Open there in Philly, and got to go over to the sports complex and see all the stadiums right next to each other, and you could almost feel the hype about the Eagles while you were there. That was early in the season, and what a Super Bowl we're going to have next week. All right, pretty handy here to get the cue ball to the end rail. Smart shot. Even if Denis does come away with a look, he's got to make one heck of a shot. Denis will fool you sometimes with his shot making, though.
If you heard a shout there, that was Mika Immonen making me jump out of my seat. He's allowed to.
Yeah, I've heard that shout before. It's been a few years, but very happy with the win, it sounds like. And this is what I was talking about. Denis can come with some shots sometimes, that's for sure.
Yeah, Immonen, the former champion of the world, defeated Pius Labutis of Lithuania 9-7. That's why he's so amped up.
That's right, and maybe played his best match yet. Started off a little rough early in the tournament. Of course, another guy that traveled from abroad. I'll tell you, if you want to go watch a fun World Championships from years and years ago, I'd have to guess it was 2001, 2000 when Mika won. You can certainly watch the finals, but just try and go watch every match you can from that event from Mika. It was something special to watch. He ran so many racks. It was incredible. I think it was maybe 2000, 2001.
You're right, first time it was 2001 in Cardiff in Wales, and Mika Immonen beat Ralph Souke 17-10 in the final.
Yeah, and that may have been his closest match the entire tournament. I don't know, but he, like I said, ran so many racks. Never thought about playing safe, it seemed like. And that's when everyone really knew the name Mika Immonen. Got to the US Open final that year against Corey Deuel as well. And then Corey unloaded the soft break with an 11-0 victory. He's gotten pretty perfect here for the breakout on the 6-9. Wants to go into the 9-ball here. He's got to attack here on the breakout. He can't play safe here. I mean, the safety would be okay, I guess, but you'd hate to see Omar kick out of this if you're Denis when you're in such a good position to play the breakout. Looks like he's not going to go for it, though. He's going to play the safety. very surprising there, Phil. I mean, when you draw back from the 4 to the 5, right? You're drawing back to maintain, but if you happen to get just right, you attack here on the opening on the 6-9. So we'll see how this develops.
I think styles of play, much like the pace of play, can be contagious, and both of these two in this match, generally speaking, have been cautious.
Yeah. Why is he tying this up here? He's got a reasonable kick shot across the table. The kick isn't going to get any better from here.
Bow in hand.
And if we get the look he actually had a chance to kick and maybe kiss the 9 in. Surprising.
So just to illuminate the rule, you are allowed to play a deliberate foul shot, but of course it is a foul, so that means the ball is in hand for your opponent. And now I think Alshaheen is going to be hoisted by his own petard.
Yeah, and like I said, the kick shot wasn't going to get any better. And you know, a lot of people will argue, and I'm one of those guys sometimes that will say, you know, you can't get games back in a tournament, right? So taking a little chance on the breakout. But who wins the tournaments? The guys who go ahead and stay aggressive. So my favorite phrase maybe of all time, fortune favors the brave. And here, I mean, Omar, like all the players, kick at the ball well, so with a little luck, you know what? He's happy to be at the table shooting, even if it's a difficult situation. Oh, misjudged it badly there.
And you have to say the strategy backfired spectacularly there.
Bow in hand.
Yeah, not taking on the kick shot the first time. Joey Tate and Bessar, I think, just kicked the match off. You can see Kachi right there at the table, keeping an eye on his countryman and World Cup of Pool partner.
Yes, we had 16 winners from the winners qualification round, and now, or should I say 32 winners from the winners qualification round, and now another 32 winners from the losers qualification round this evening, who will go head to head in the last 64 tomorrow, and still plenty of action to come before the conclusion of play on day 2 here. Denis Grabe, it was tactical, that rack, highly tactical. In the end, he goes back in front by 2 and 4-2. There's nothing like doing well on your own patch. Yesterday, the championship began with Wojciech Szewczyk winning the first match we saw on table 1. Well, tonight, he's come through the losers qualification round. This, the winning pot coming up to deny Elliot Sanderson. Wojciech Szewczyk, a 9-7 winner. He plays well, he speaks well, and he held his composure well to win that match and get over the line and get into the single elimination phase. Wojciech Szewczyk, 9-7 the winner, and no doubt the reaction from him, he was delighted.
Wojciech, well done. That was unbelievably tense out there. Tell us about the match from your point of view.
Yeah, it was. I mean, seems to me like me against Elliot is always intense. I remember a couple of our matches in the past, almost all of them heel-heels. Here, almost 9-7. You know, the toughest part was, I guess, playing another bit, because yesterday I played Imran Majid and I was 7-3 up, lost 9-8. And here the story could have been the same. It was close, yeah, because I was 8-5 up and he was chasing me down, almost heel-heel. So it was really hard to get rid of dark thoughts. So that made potting the last balls more difficult.
The crowd just seemed to be getting bigger and bigger as the match went on. What was that like to play in that atmosphere?
Yeah, actually, I wasn't really paying attention. I'm this kind of player that tries not to look around, not to get like too much involved with the crowd. I just try to keep it all to myself. But in the last track, I noticed how many people are around. I was surprised, and yeah, it's still really special. Much different when you play with the crowd than without.
And as the local man, it would have been absolutely horrible not to make it through to the last 64, so you must feel greatly relieved about that.
Yeah, I agree, definitely. I mean, getting to the last 64 is not my main goal, like the ultimate goal, but to get further, first you need to do that. And I was really close to be out of the tournament, so I'm very happy I'm going to play tomorrow.
Job done, you're in the last 64. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much. All the best.
Well done, Wojciech. Good guy. So here we go then. I've got some news of two players at the opposite end of the age scale. Teenager Khalid Al-Ghamdi, he's 4-3 up on James Georgiadis from Australia. That's on table 13. I'm afraid though, sad news I think for veteran Ralph Souquet, out of the event, defeated 9-6 by Dimitri Jungo from Switzerland.
Of course, us being over here, not sure how Ralph played that match. He told us in an interview that the nerves get to him a little bit, but I wouldn't doubt that Dimitri had a lot to do with that loss and us losing another former world champion. Back here on the main stage, looking for our first break and run. And again, Denis getting better with the break shot, so that's a good sign for the Estonian. Watch the cueing a little bit. Good through impact, then sometimes a little squirrely afterwards, but a little body movement at times, but doesn't seem to affect his shot.
Denis Grabe wins the rack.
It's taken a while for that first break and run out, but Denis Grabe is responsible for it, and now he leads 5-2. Here's another winning moment. We heard the shout from Mika Immonen when he came across this side of the room. He's loving it, isn't he? He's the ultimate competitor. Simply loathes defeat, but he loves to win. And this was the 9-ball that saw him defeat Pius Labutis from Lithuania. He's had a great career, but he's not satisfied yet. Mika Immonen defeats Pius Labutis by 9 racks to 7.
Mika, on a day of many close finishes, that was another one. Tell us about the match from your point of view.
I want to quote Naoki Oi here, and happy birthday me. But anyway, so it was a very tense match. We were like neck to neck. I struggled with the break in the beginning. I think my first 3 or 4 breaks were dry, and then he was breaking well, so it was a little bit ominous. But I hung in there, made some tough outs, and then towards the end, I think it was a 5-4 for him, and I put 3 racks together. But then I let him back in, so 7-7, and but I was able to close out from 7-7, and just relieved to be in the last 64.
Just to clarify, it isn't actually your birthday today. That was in December. You turned 50, and we saw the big cheer you gave at the end there just before the finish shows that even after all these years, it still means so much to you.
Oh, you know, even though they call me the Iceman, I got a lot of fire. So it means a lot, and I'm just happy to be, you know, so-called a veteran and still, you know, still kicking and still playing strong. So just looking forward to the next round, but get a good night's sleep.
And 22 years on from winning this great championship, how close do you feel you are to playing well enough to win it again?
Well, it's just, you know, every game is a different animal, but if I break like that, like I broke towards the end, you know, anything's possible.
You're in the draw, and that's what matters. Well done, Mika.
That's right. Thank you.
Come on, baby!
That was the shout coming from Mika Immonen. Now, we were talking about breaking in the interview. Look at this. The golden break. Just toppling in from Denis Grabe to take that 6-2 lead.
Yeah, so often the guys come across the 9 and they get an awful kiss with the cue ball disappearing. Now the golden black 9 ball disappears, and the break getting better for Denis Grabe.
Right, and I recall
that smile, that's something that I like seeing.
I recall last year, Jeremy, on the way to winning the title, Shane van Beuning had golden breaks in very quick succession in one match.
Yeah, I think he actually had a couple matches. One of them, he had 2 and maybe 2 racks in a row, but he had some others as well. Yeah, and I tell you, another good break off. He's a little He's queuing pretty nicely, actually. So it seems like so long ago, I really can't remember what got Denis the control in this match, but now he's taken full control with Omar in the chair for now a few racks. Big shot here, though. You got to stay focused. He's going to fall on the rail. And this is the problem because the 5 does not pass the 6, so gaining position here, I'll tell you, you could take anyone in the field and say they're no favorite. I don't know, Denis, the way he played so conservatively earlier with that 6-9, I wouldn't be surprised that he doesn't really attack elevating the cue, trying to draw position. Maybe play safe on the 3, maybe just roll it in and work from there. And that's what he's trying to assess now. Crucial game in this match, 6-3, 7-2, big difference. The cross corner bank does go, by the way, to the upper right. Does make the cue ball move and track more towards the purple 5. He could kind of knock the ball around. I think he's sizing up that bank now. And the good thing about this bank shot, as long as you don't bank it, long to the top rail, it doesn't really want to hang in the corner. It usually either goes or double banks to the top rail, and you can play a backdoor safety. I'd be surprised if he decides to elevate and go after this. Here he goes. Still hadn't pulled the trigger on it, though. Yeah, I like this play. This is the way he's been playing the match. Pretty safe. So a pretty smart shot. And I don't know if he's left to cut or not. Even if he has, nothing easy.
At 2-2, you thought this could possibly go all the way. Probably go all the way. But suddenly, Grabe grabbed command.
Yeah, tough thin hit on the right side. Beautiful hit. Maybe not going to get the results he deserved right there. But that's the part that I would favor Denis, is tactically for sure.
Yeah, this new subdued Omar Alshaheen, thinking all about the process, as he said in his interview. I think he's nullifying his greatest asset, which is a fire in the belly and instinct.
Right, some rhythm. Yeah, that's where someone on your side means a big part to be able to assess really what type of player you are and really what little changes you need to make. That's the thing with most of these great players. It's not big changes. It's very small changes that make a huge difference.
There's a big change happening over on table 3, where Billy Thorpe was 4-0 down to Nguyen An Tuan of Vietnam. Now, though, Thorpe has battled back to only 4-3 adrift.
And Billy just had some chances, really difficult racks from what I've seen. So it's been a lot of little things. And does he attack here? How's he get shape? Did he fluke the 6? No. Maybe fluke the safety? No.
Seemed to me as though there was genuine frustration in that. Took a swipe at it, didn't he?
Left a difficult 3 in the side. It is playable, but he's got to work the cue ball to get on the 5, so that's got to go. It just gets by. All right, nice little stop shot here on the 5. Leaves you a perfect angle to play the 6 to the 7. Thinking about that interview from Omar, You know, he's talking about losing the passion for the game a little bit, right? Well, Omar was one of the guys that really was out there playing the game, just, you know, more than grinding it so much, right? And that gets back to more maybe what he's about. A little more free swinger. He knows he's not, with that, he's not going to be the most consistent player, but he's going to have his wins when he gets going.
He was always a joyous player. If he tries to become an automaton, I don't think it'll work.
Yeah. Well, I think there may be a, like I said, a mild change you can make versus such an extreme change. You being such a sports guy and around so much, I'm sure you've seen golfers and snooker players try to do the same. You mentioned one earlier that's having quite a bit of good success doing so, though.
The only success here is being achieved by Denis Grabe. This 9-ball for 5 racks in succession. Was it ever in doubt? Denis is proving a menace to that man, Omar Alshaheen, because Grabe leads by 7 racks to 2 when he was doing so.
Well, I don't think, oh, looky here. Well, it might as well be a golden break. Even though he is elevated over the 6, you still like his chances to pocket this 2-9 and get to the hill. His biggest, I think, and best finish in an event in America, Fabio, was the Super Billiards Expo years ago. He finished runner-up to Sean Putnam. And you should have seen that final. It was crazy. Fabio, you just never knew back then what was going to happen. An extremely talented player, by the way. I mean, could do a lot with the cue ball, pocket balls, but...
Well, you never knew what was going to happen with Fabio. You still don't, but I think we know what's going to happen here. That was an absolute given.
Grabe wins the rack.
So 2-9, another very swift conclusion. He broke and ran in the 7th rack, did Denis Grabe. He had a golden break in the 8th, and now to get to the hill, the simplest imaginable 2-9 combination. Denis Grabe, you know, he's got some interesting past results which mark him out as a possible contender here, known as Grabo. 32 years of age, a 3-time Euro Tour winner, that is correct. And I'll tell you what, that doesn't tell the full story, because he won 2 of them back-to-back in 2014, the Austrian Open, and then straight afterwards the Slovenian Open. Now, you know, Jeremy, just how tough the Euro Tour is to win 1, let alone 2 in succession.
Yeah, for sure. Difficult tour. I tell you what, the break has changed tremendously. This 2 is going to get over the side, it looks like. Yeah, I think it's makeable in the side. Is a shot in the corner, but we may not see any more of Alshaheen in this World Pool Championships. The 2 now, he's going to have to cut it to where the cue ball is going to have some speed, but so position may be a little sticky. But he's got a few pockets plus maybe a 3-9 kind of looming. Looks like he's going to try and travel the cue ball. I would love to be able to play the 3 in the lower left if possible. That way, if you can pocket the 2 with not that much speed, that's a pretty natural position, you know, like this. Now he just makes one more nice shot really on the 3, drawing the cue ball over. Should get out.
I think the word to describe Alshaheen in this match has been subdued. Uncharacteristic, that's another word for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, like, we all go through this in any professional sport, I think, especially individual sports, to where are you spinning your wheels with what you're doing? Are you playing? Are you loving it? Are you putting in the effort that it takes to win? And maybe he's just on the fence about what's going on. Good to see him here, though, and I think he's going to be okay overall. Just this match kind of got taken away from him. And guy that's played pretty smart overall when he didn't have the shot, which is to be expected from Denis.
Yeah, well, he's applied the handcuffs from the start, and now he's throwing away the key.
Yeah, we'll see if Omar happens to kick out of this, maybe gets a rack, if he starts speeding up the play, you know, kind of more like he used to with this big deficit. You can see him kind of walking back to the chair before the ball's even really settled.
The cue ball, much like Alshaheen, in a spin. It can take ages for that white to settle down and to stop completely. And of course, when there's a 30-second shot clock, it's important that the referee realizes that that is spinning and he takes it into consideration.
Oh, absolutely. I think we have the best referees for pool that there is, so. Okay, not taking near as much time as he had. Looks like he has to swerve this a little. Good effort. I think he's going to get the snooker.
Desislava Boshilova from Bulgaria. In line, maybe, in the near future, to possibly officiate the final of the World Championship in the next few years.
Yeah, she's as solid as they come. This got a little funny. He's got to make sure he gets past the side, doesn't catch the point. Maybe he has to play the 5 a little heavy into the long rail. Maybe just a little in, like I said, right before the pocket. And just like that. Now this is going to run straight in, so definitely not over with yet. We may see a real first shot on the 7. I'll tell you, a big man that's walking across the arena right now that probably hasn't got talked about as much as he should. And I think last year he showed a lot of form in my eyes. And maybe good just kind of going by under the radar at Eklund Kachi. You know, he was right in that U.S. Open before he made a couple crucial mistakes against Ko Ping Chung in a big match and maybe the final 32 or 16.
When the scoreline was 2-2 here, I could see all kinds of outcomes. Couldn't see 9-2 either way, but that's what it's going to be if this 9-ball finds the target.
And Denis gaining a lot of confidence with this win.
The World 9-ball Championship runner-up in 2021 departs. Omar Alshaheen shared the first 4 racks, then drew a blank. Denis Grabe winning comfortably and impressively at the end by 9 racks to 2.